Claude Code scores 80.8% to 88.6% on SWE Bench verified, while Copilot sits at 56%. That's a roughly 30-point gap on the same benchmark. Pick the wrong tool for a large codebase refactor, and that accuracy gap turns into real debugging hours fast. Both tools are moving fast right now, and Copilot just expanded to 1M token context windows in June 2026, so this comparison's current. I'm running Claude Code against Copilot across 5 head-to-head tests, pulling only from verified sources and community benchmarks I could actually cross-check. The thing that's going to matter most to your budget, Copilot Pro is literally half the price of Claude Code Pro, $10 a month versus $20. But by the time we hit the pricing test, you might not care about that gap anymore. My name is Brian, and I'm in these tools 12 hours a day, so you don't have to be. Alright, so let's talk about what these two tools actually are before we get into the numbers, because they're not really competing in the same way most people think they are. You've probably heard both tools are great at coding, and they both are, but in totally different ways. This comparison is for any developer choosing between a fast inline autocomplete tool and a full terminal agent that can run 5 to 30 parallel code changes at once, and that's the actual decision you're making here. Test 1 is code accuracy and bug-free output. The day your AI coding tool ships broken code into a PR that breaks production, you're spending hours on a postmortem instead of shipping features, and that cost compounds fast across a team of 10 or 20 developers. What I found on SWE Bench Verified is pretty wild. Claude Code comes in at 80.8% to 88.6%, and Copilot lands at 56%. I want to be upfront. Both numbers come from a third-party comparison site and not directly from Anthropic or GitHub's own model cards, so I treat them as directional rather than gospel, but that's still a massive gap on the same benchmark. Claude Code takes test 1, and the gap is bigger than I expected going in. Roughly 30 points on SWE Bench is not a rounding error. That's a structurally different level of accuracy, and it puts Claude Code up 1 to 0 on the scoreboard. Test 2 is IDE and workflow integration. A solo dev who lives in Xcode or Eclipse and switches to a new AI tool, only to find out it doesn't support. Their editor loses a full day to set up friction before writing a single line of code, so editor support is not a nice to have. Copilot supports 7 or more editors right now, including Xcode, Eclipse, NeoVim, and Visual Studio, while Claude Code works in VS Code, JetBrains, and Beta, plus web and mobile. What surprised me is Claude Code's /batch command, which runs parallel changes in isolated worktrees, and Copilot has nothing like that. But for raw editor breadth, Copilot wins clearly. Copilot takes test 2 on IDE integration, mostly because of how many editors it covers out of the box. I thought Claude Code's agentic batch mode might push it over the line, but editor breadth is what most developers actually feel day to day, and that ties the scoreboard up 1 to 1. Test 3 is at context, window, and multi-file understanding. 1 million tokens is the number everyone's chasing right now, because the moment your codebase grows past what the model can hold in memory, you start getting suggestions that fix one file and silently break another, and that's the failure mode that makes you distrust the tool entirely. Both tools now claim up to 1 million tokens on paid plans. Claude Code's free tier starts at 200K, and I couldn't find Copilot's free tier limit anywhere I looked. The weird part is, Claude Code's enterprise plan is reported at 500K tokens, which is actually lower than its individual plan, and that's blog reported and not confirmed by Anthropic directly. Neither company publishes a real benchmark for multi-file coherence, which is the thing developers actually care about, and the token count tells you the ceiling, but not the quality of what happens near that ceiling. So this dimension is closer to a tie than the headline numbers suggest, and I want to be straight about that before calling it. Context window is a tie. Both tools hit 1 million tokens on paid plans, and I couldn't find a published benchmark that separates them on actual multi-file quality, so the scoreboard stays at Claude Code 1, Copilot 1, with 1 tied. 2 tests left, and this is where the workflow decision gets real. Speed and completions is next, and that's the test where Claude Code's terminal native approach either justifies its premium price or doesn't, and then we hit pricing, which is where the whole decision might flip for a lot of you. Test 4 is speed and completion style. Sub 500 milliseconds is the number. That's how fast Copilot's inline completions fire, and if you're used to that kind of instant feedback while you type, switching to a tool that makes you wait feels like coding with lag, and it's a real productivity hit for certain workflows. Copilot fires inline completions in under 500 milliseconds, and Claude Code doesn't do inline completions at all since it's a different paradigm entirely, agentic and multi-step. but Claude Code's agent spins up instantly in the terminal, while Copilot's Cloud agent takes around 90 seconds. And Claude Code's /batch can run 5 to 30 parallel tasks simultaneously, which Copilot simply can't match. Copilot takes speed and completions because most developers need inline completions more than batch processing, and sub 500 ns is genuinely hard to beat for that use case. Claude Code's batch mode is a killer feature, but it's for a different job entirely, and that puts Copilot ahead 2 to 1 with one tied. Test 5 is pricing and total cost of ownership. $6 per developer per day is the reported average cost for Claude Code, which works out to around $180 a month per seat. And if you multiply that across a team of 10 developers, you're looking at $1,800 a month before you've shipped a single feature. Copilot Pro is $10 a month with a free tier that gives you 2,000 completions monthly, while Claude Code Pro is $20 a month with no free tier at all. At the max plan level, Claude Code runs $100 to $200 a month per seat, and I couldn't find an exact published price for Copilot Business, but estimates put it around $19 per user per month, which is way below Claude Code's ceiling. Copilot wins pricing, and it's not close. Half the entry price, a free tier, and a much lower team cost. And what surprised me is how fast the per developer daily cost for Claude Code adds up at scale since $6 a day. Sounds small until it's a line item on a 20-person team. That brings Copilot to 3 wins. Claude Code 1 tied. Okay, so here's where Claude Code clearly beats Copilot. SWE bench accuracy is 80 to 88% versus 56%. That gap is real, and the /batch command runs 5 to 30 independent code changes and parallel work trees with nothing comparable on the Copilot side. Agent startup is instant in the terminal with no 90-second cloud spin-up, and 1 million token context is available across multiple model generations. And here's where Copilot clearly beats Claude Code. $10 a month Pro, a free tier with 2,000 completions, versus Claude Code's $20 entry with no free tier. 7 or more supported editors, including Xcode and Eclipse, sub 500 mayors inline completions that feel instant while you type, and 4.7 million paid subscribers with 90%. Fortune 100 adoption means this thing is battle-tested at scale. So here's the decision rule. Copilot won 3 to 1 with one tie, but that scoreboard doesn't tell the whole story. If you need instant inline completions on a budget, Copilot is the clear pick at $10 a month, but if you're doing deep agentic work across large code bases, and that 30-point accuracy gap actually matters to your output quality, Claude Code is worth the premium, and you should right-size the tool to the task. I ran Claude Code against Cursor next, and that comparison is a lot closer since the price gap basically disappears, and the agentic features start to overlap in ways that actually change the decision. So that one's already on the channel if you want to see how it plays out.